interesting thing happened to me yesterday. I talked with a woman that I have known just briefly. We see each other maybe once or twice a year. We talk very surfacely. I think she's fascinating. I'd love to get to know her, but I haven't pushed it, and I felt like she was maybe not wanting to push it with me either. And so anyway, yesterday she made the comment that she had read the Kindle book already. And she said, I just need to be honest with you. You are one of my scary women. Now, if you've read the book, you know what I mean by that. And on the one hand, I thought, me? Scare someone? That's great. And on the other hand, that's terrible. So let me talk to you about scary women. Scary women, if you've not read the book or not gotten to this part, which it's in there several times, and you haven't read very far if you haven't read about scary woman, but the scary woman is that woman that you somehow feel intimidated by. You compare yourself to her and you come up wanting. You struggle because you just know she's got it all together and you don't. Her life is easy and yours isn't, which is what makes me laugh every time I hear somebody say, well, you know, I see them and I admire them, but I could never talk to them. That's what that lady was saying to me yesterday. I was her scary woman. But here's the thing I also say about scary women. If you name who they are in your own mind, so you know that that's what you're calling them, then I want you, and what I invited her to do also, is that you connect with them. You go out for coffee with them. You make an intentional time where you get to visit with them. And what I also say in the book is, if you do that, chances are that you're going to say something to that scary woman about, I've just always admired you and I just know that you've got your act together. And about that time, she's going to choke on her coffee and spew it all over the table because it's such a joke, right? Oh yeah. We want to put our best self forward. We do. But if we know our real self, and we do, we know who we really are, we know that we don't have it all together. We know that we've got our moments that we really struggle. I took a gal out to dinner a few months ago that was one of my scary women. And she did just that. And I laughed and I said, I tell my clients that all the time, but I just needed you to know that I really love watching your life. You seem to have a lot together. And so then we began to share, and in the sharing, I was me in her life because she needed me to be who I was, and she was her in mine, and I needed her to be who she is. So the reason I bring up scary women, besides the fact that I had this conversation just yesterday, was that I have two women that I follow in my life that just made book launch announcements. In fact, Danielle Burnock, who has been a friend through my Tribe Writer group, her book came out yesterday. Now, she and I have been going back and forth between, the whole writing process over the last year and a half. We've probably been sharing, one of us would pull into the lead as far as getting our formatting done, and one of us would pull into the lead as far as getting our cover done, and we were just, back and forth all this time. And she came out with a book called Because You Matter. Excellent book. I encourage you to check it out. So many of the topics within the book are similar, but because of who she is and her story and her perspective on her story, all of that has given her a different look. And her heart says, because you matter. And she's interviewed people in that book that are sharing out of their, I call them stuck places, but out of their struggle and how they learned that they matter in that whole process. So she came out with her book. At the same time, in fact, today officially, Michelle Cushatt is, if you're not familiar with her, I encourage you to look her up. Last name is Cushatt. Michelle Cushatt is coming out with a new book called Relentless. And if you've read her other two books, if you've heard her story, you know that she's got good material as well. And her book is launching, actually she's launching her launch team today. And I talk about these two women because immediately in the middle of my launch, immediately I struggled with, but why would I even write a book? Why would I even put something out there? You know, I'm a scary woman to somebody. And then I find out I was. And then I thought, but these women are already, other women, other people have already written books that, you know, have a completely different flavor and are some of them are cutting edge, and some of their research is, excuse me, is this or that or the other thing. And I began to realize that they were becoming my scary women. And I got to spend some time with Danielle last weekend at Tribe Writers, and the more I spent time with her, the more I loved her. Michelle Cushatt, the more I read of her, the more I would listen to her podcasts or her Facebook Lives, the more real she becomes. And I realize they are women doing what God has called them to do, just like I am. I don't know why you should buy my book over theirs. Maybe you should buy all three of them. Relentless is a different theme, but Michelle's got some books that are Undone and I Am that are excellent. Excellent if you're not familiar with those. So here's my challenge to us today. Who are you comparing yourself to, and why? Who's your scary woman? And what makes her scary? What's the trait or the characteristic or the thought, the false thought that you have about her? And I challenge you to go spend some time with her. Get to know her. Invite her into your world. Even if you feel intimidated, be honest with her. And let her be honest with you. Okay, because remember, we tend to compare ourselves to others by comparing our insides. Everything we know about ourselves with their outsides. Everything we see about them. And we're pretty good about putting our best selves forward, right? So who do you have in your world that's your scary woman? And what can you do to really get to know her? You game? It's my challenge for you today.